Want to know how to bring it and just be wide open and just awesome at just about everything? Well, you're in for a treat today. Welcome to Happy Healthy Coffee Native, brought to you by Umble Coffee Company. And today we just thought, let's just go wide open and just bring you an awesome video interview. So today we have John Cassimus, who runs multiple companies, and so he's going to talk to us about just living what he would call no limit, just wide open, but not a wide open like unraveling, like a structure, living to your fullest potential. So, without further ado, let's get in the interview with John Cassimus. We have John today on Happy Healthy Coffee Native, and we are excited. He's one of those guys who just brings it whenever he does anything. So, I am just going to jump straight to him. John, what's up, brother?
Hey man, how are you?
I'm
Good to
good.
talk to you.
Well, good to
Thanks
talk to
so
you.
much for sending all that great coffee to the camp. I was down at the farm the other day, and man, it's delicious. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So, at Umble Coffee, we put 110% into and go wide open with everything we do. And you and I actually met the other day on a century ride, and I learned quickly that you put 110% into everything you do. So I'm just going to give you the floor, and let's just chat back and forth, and you tell folks like why that's important, where you've seen it work and help in your life and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Grew up there and ended up at the University of Alabama. Played football there. Made the baseball team as well when I was there, and
Sweet.
I learned at an early age that when you push yourself and you're dedicated to something, that anything is possible. And I just firmly believe that a human can't reach their full potential until they learn to push themselves so far beyond their limits, both physically and mentally. Then and only then can they grow. And I just live my life by that motto every day. I think that I was I knew at a very early age when I was 8 years old that God had given me some abilities that none of my friends had athletically. And I wish he'd done the same thing with my brain, but can't win them all. Uh, but no, seriously, I learned quickly at an early age that I was here to do really unique and really great things. And I
Yeah.
just believed that that was my calling. It wasn't from a standpoint from a conceited or I'm better than you. I just knew that I could do things that my friends couldn't do. I could run faster than they could run. I was stronger than they were. I could Somebody put a football in my hand and I just took off with it, and it was just something that I was naturally really really good at, and running with that in my hand, and then hitting a baseball and all those different things and running track, and so by doing that, I was always with coaches and people that were pushing me because I was, obviously above average and all that. And so I was pushed really, really hard at an early age. And I think that one of the biggest moments in my life was I was running junior Olympic track, and I was probably, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, whatever, and had done a track workout. My mom had picked me up this is during summer, and I had to get up and we'd go at like 7 in the morning and before it got too hot. And I remember she picked me up and we'd run intervals, and we stopped at the grocery store and I grabbed some Gatorade or something. And then I just immediately threw up outside the car.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable pushing yourself like that to a point to where you do throw up. And that was a real eye-opening experience for me. But I just loved it, that I hated it when I had to go there and do it. But what it made me feel like internally after I was done, and the strength that I gained from that mentally and physically, I believed in it in the process, and it just stuck with me. And I was just fortunate enough that I was somebody that was so self disciplined that during the summer workouts, like at Alabama, when we had to be in shape, and I just typically didn't like to stay there the entire summer. I needed at least 4 or 5 weeks off to kind of do my own thing. But I was always able to show up and either win or nobody really beat me in the physical tests that we would have at Alabama with 120 of the best athletes in the world. And I always was there at the top, and just being in shape and being able to do those things that other guys would show up that didn't have the self-discipline to do during the summer. And that work ethic those lessons I learned by being pushed so hard at that level with a lot of other great athletes, it just laid a foundation for me that has really propelled my growth, both mentally and physically, and with work and everything that I do. It's created a tremendous amount of success in my life. My business things that I've done, I'm the founder of a company called Zoe's Kitchen, which is a national fast casual restaurant brand. And my mom's Zoe, and I did that. And then I'm doing something different that I'll talk to you about now. But, the times that I had when I was building that business, that I would lay in my bed at night. I was 33 years old when I started that company. And I remember, going to work with a T-shirt and tennis shoes and shorts. And I was just really out there on the streets hustling. I was just trying to get people to eat a $5 chicken salad sandwich and bring them in the store, and it wasn't working. And so the things that I had to do to make that business work, and how hard I had to dig when I really wanted to quit and stop, just like I wanted to quit and stop when I was at Alabama, when I was an All-American coming out of high school. And then there I go. First year, I'm redshirted, and then all of a sudden, there I am, a nobody, and wanting to quit, wanting to go home, and just my pride is just like, man, there's just nothing in this world that I start, that I'm not gonna finish, that I'm not gonna figure out a way to be successful at. Yeah. And I was just able to grind through that, and when it got tough, really focus my energy and wake up each day and go fight again. And then ultimately work it out by just really the hard work and the dedication. And there's just a lot of times in life, most people are not willing to do that.
Well, and so a couple of things that you said that I want to kind of hit on for our audience out there. One is like pushing until you break. Like most of what we do in life, most of what everybody does in life, they do not push that far. And so when you were talking about like God's gifts to people, and everybody does have different gifts, you have to really flesh those out, and that's what we love to see in folks. And another thing is you're talking about pride and also getting on the street and hustling. Anything that you want or anybody wants to be great at, they've got to throw pride away, and they have got to come with like a humility to just like be what I call scrappy, just get out there. And even if you get defeated, or even if you get embarrassed, or you get whatever, you fail, you have at least gone far enough, to see where that limit is.
Yeah. Listen, there is nothing in the world more damaging and devastating to me than regret.
Yeah.
And the regret that I have, even when I know I worked extremely hard in college at football in Alabama, I look back and there are things that I could have been more dedicated at, even though I was extremely self-disciplined, never was late, never got in trouble. I mean, I did everything. I was the model citizen. But even though I was always in great shape and worked extremely hard, there was more I could have done. And that just, even to this day, drives me insane. And so now with what I'm doing, for example, I was, out there, I totally lost track of time. I got here to the warehouse, 300,000 square feet, and I've got like 100 trucks showing up in our liquidation business that we've got to process. And I'm out there just simply because I started something that I'm going to finish, and building this company, and whatever it takes, I do. There's nothing in this warehouse that I can't do just as good as anybody else. And there's nothing I won't do in order for us to win. And that's just who I am. It doesn't matter that I have an airplane. It doesn't matter that I have that I really in theory don't have to work. I'm committed, and I wake up every day and I put the gas pedal down because I just fundamentally believe that if the last thing I did in this world that was noteworthy or something that I would be super proud of was the Zoe's Kitchen story, which is an amazing story to create a brand that big and do that. But if that's my last thing, and I did that when I was 40, I would be devastated. Like, that's just not who I am. I've got something bigger to do. I don't know what it is, but I mean, what I'm doing right now is getting really big, really fast. And when I'm done with this, what my next thing is what is that going to be? Hopefully it's going to be being able to help a lot of people and take some of the resources that I've earned to be able to affect change and do that through my pocketbook and my time. And that's what motivates me every day.
Right. Well, and tell us a little more about Crazy Cas Boys. Tell us about that. That's kind of the newer thing, right?
Yeah, I basically, when I sold my company and then I worked for about another year and then basically stopped
Right.
and still was a large owner in the company. Then we went public in 2014. But for about 8 years, I really spent time in South Alabama and built a really my dream in life was to always own land and to have a retreat. And so I spent time doing that and planting gardens and planting trees and just kind of decompressing my life for about 8 years. And then 2.5 years ago, I got into the liquidation business and saw a real unique opportunity in this space, just because of the e-commerce world and so much product out there with Amazon and Target and Walmart and people like that. And so I ended up getting in the liquidation business. And so we basically, my partner and I, who's in Ohio,
Right.
he and I are the largest. We're one of the largest liquidators for Amazon in the world, along with other people. And we basically buy all this overstock merchandise, and we take it and turn around and sell it multiple ways. Where we have a lot of presence online. We sell on eBay, on Amazon, on Walmart.com, and our own website called Casboy.com. And then we have a chain of retail stores called Crazy Cas Boys, where we take all this merchandise and put 60, 80,000, 100,000 items a week in a store, and we'll turn around and start it on Friday. So today is the beginning of our week, and everything in the store is $8, and then it descends every day until Wednesday. Wow. And so tomorrow will be $7, and then on Sunday it goes to $4, Monday $2, Tuesday $1, and then on Wednesday it goes down to $0.25. And we sell everything in the store every week, and then we start it over again and do it again. It's insane. I mean, we have lines of people waiting to get into the store every day.
Well, and I've seen some videos of the store or some of the stores, and like the stuff there is good as far as, like, I've seen some of those massage guns and things like that.
Sure.
And so you get like a $200, whatever, and it's like $8 or $7. I mean, it'd be like a feeding frenzy almost.
It is. And, people like to dig and they like to look for stuff. And, and we're totally at the mercy of, I call it the liquidation gods, that some weeks the product's amazing and some weeks it's average, but that's the nature of this business. We buy stuff sight unseen, and then we process it and go through it and sort it. And it just is what it is. And this gives us a really unique way to move the product really fast. This model doesn't work as a standalone business. It works in conjunction with everything else that we do, being vertically integrated in this business, that we have massive wholesale clients. We also are huge resellers online and sell, millions of items a year online and all that. So, it just is a part of our plan to kind of dominate this liquidation business. And it seems to be working. We're a couple years into this. We've got over 500 employees now. We're open in four different states, and we're opening stores every other month this year. So we're really excited about the future.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this. So 500 employees, got this business, got that. You can't do it all by yourself, right? And I mean, I see that I'm a physician, and I also have this coffee company. And I also write on the side, and I dabble in some other things. And so what I have learned is, because honestly, I'm a micromanager. Like, I'm what I call a recovering micromanager. Like, I want things done right. I want it done 100% right. And so for me, when I'm looking at a team, one thing that helped me is saying, okay, if somebody can do something 80% as good as I can, then I need to hand it off. And I need to let them do it, and I need to be okay with that. Tell us about your teams and like some like ninja key strategies or tips as far as like how important teams are, what you do to delegate and just get all that stuff done, because it's not just you.
No, that's right. And it's not. And listen, I have a fundamental belief that for me to be effective, I've got to lead by example.
Yeah.
I got to set and clearly define the expectations I have for anybody in my life, whether they're an employee, a girlfriend, a kid, a parent, you name it. So lead by example, set and clearly define the expectations, hold people accountable. Then you've got to certainly empower them.
Yeah.
And then the lastly is, and I get this question all the time when I'm doing a lot of public speaking, especially with, MBA schools and things like that, is they ask me, what's your number one thing you would credit to your success as a person? And it's easy for me. That answer is so simple. And if you really knew me, you'd understand this, is my sense of urgency in life is number one thing that drives me every day. Like I run everywhere I go. I drive fast everywhere I go. I am getting there. If I have an idea and I need to get something done, I'm doing it. Like if I don't get it done instantaneously, I'm going to somehow be negatively impacted by it or miss the opportunity. And so urgency is everything. But I basically have done all of my businesses. I've always surrounded myself with extremely young people with lots of energy and a big motor. And so I just have had luck with that, where a lot of people are not willing to do that because of just dealing with sometimes immaturity, lack of experience. But I've always felt, because I was that way as a young person, that when I was 18 or 19 years old, I could have done anything. I mean, I was ready to go to work. I could run a company. I could do anything. I could lead people. I wasn't scared. And so I've gotten surrounded myself with a lot of young people who want to work all the time, who believe and drink the Kool-Aid, and they know what opportunity is and they see it. And then they see me and want to emulate what I'm doing. And that model for me has worked really well. So I'm 54 years old. I'm by
And you look 35.
15. Well, I don't know about that, but 15 to 20 years younger than me I'm probably the oldest employee by 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm just surrounded by a bunch of young people that really want to, better themselves and to create opportunity for themselves and build that basic foundation by learning from somebody who, is an entrepreneur.
Well, and another thing that I've found, and you would probably agree with, is that when you hire some of those younger folks, they don't come with assumptions like as far as, well, that's not how we did it here,
That's right.
that. And so that helps a lot as far as, being able to teach them, how to do things. So I have another question for you. So, or kind of a statement, kind of a question. When we're talking about things like this, running a business, riding a century ride, running a coffee roastery, things like that, I think as far as gifts, I think it's worth saying that you can be really good at cutting grass or folding laundry or, all of those things. Anything you do, like you're talking about with urgency, anything that you do, you can do well. And I personally, I don't stack one higher than the other as far as, if you bring a quality to it, I think that's part of it. Would you say so, or what do you think?
Listen, either you're driven for excellence and you do everything right in your life, and you try to, whether it's a relationship, whether it's riding a century, whether it's my cooking show that I do, whether it's when I'm out bow hunting during the fall and chasing animals, everything I do, I try to do it with the most intensity and practice, learn, prepare myself for success with everything. It doesn't matter if I'm cooking some people dinner at home. I'm going to make it the best possible meal I can possibly do in the time that I have to do it. It doesn't matter whether I'm if it's a vacation, whatever. I'm always striving to do everything that I do the best that I can do it. And that's just who I am. I don't discriminate with anything. I'm out there right now. When I get off this, I'm going to go out there and we're going to unload trucks all day. And I'm going to do it with a fever and a pace. And I'm going to drive these young guys and work them really hard. And I'm going to be right there with them. And there's not going to be any misconceptions about what the expectations are. And just something as simple as unloading a truck.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of pace, where you and I met, like we said earlier, is just totally random on a century ride, 100-mile ride. And I didn't know there were several people in that group that were like, famous people, me not being one of them. And I was probably 50, 60 miles in, just chit-chatting with all these folks before anybody, said, hey, did you know so-and-so? I'm like, what are you talking about? But it was about, I'd say 20 or 25 of us that were just blistering it as far as pace goes. Had a couple of pro cyclists in there, a couple of country music singers, all kinds of folks. And that was fun. Did you have fun on that?
Oh my God, I had a great time. I put a group together that was 14 people, and we had talked about wanting to get together to do something. And when you get a bunch of guys like that together, there's, sometimes there can be some weirdness or people don't know each other. But I'll just tell you from a fellowship standpoint and a bunch of guys that it was the first time I had gotten to hang out with some of the guys, even though I put the ride together. It was truly a trip that during the ride, I know Luke, for example, Luke Bryan, who's one of my best friends, he probably said to me 3 times, this is the greatest thing in the world. And here's a guy that's, incredibly wealthy, has everything at his fingertips and everybody trying to do everything in the world for him. And he's out with 25 or 30 people he really doesn't know that well, riding a bike for 4.5 hours. And all he's talking about is this is one of the greatest days of my life. I've never had more fun. If you don't like this, there's just something wrong with you. This is incredible, over and over again. And so that really, to me, sums up, because we had people on that ride that have the means and the abilities. I mean, there were billionaires on that ride, right? I mean, there were a couple billionaires on that ride. And these guys just simple, great, that wanted to be there and wanted to have fellowship with guys and get out there. And it wasn't about anybody, what they were doing. And that's one of the beautiful things about cycling, is that you can do it pretty much in obscurity, no matter who you are. Luke can go ride his bike and nobody knows who he is when he puts his helmet and his sunglasses on. And it's just something you go do and you have a common bond with people. And it's a weird thing, cycling, that does that. And that's one of my most favorite things about it, is to be able to go do that.
Well, I love cycling and I love running. My coach for that stuff is actually there in Birmingham, a guy named John Cassimus, who is I think he also works at Cahaba Bikes there.
Yeah.
Cycles. And I have never met an unhappy cyclist or an unhappy runner. And when you talk about these people who are famous, whatever, when you get out there and it's 4.5 hours, they still pedal like everybody else, and they still, just shoot the breeze about, just regular stuff. And to me, that's just beautiful. That's why I love getting out there.
It is. And listen, I just fundamentally, I wish that, every person in the world could exercise and have the time and the freedom and the flexibility to get outside and to get fresh air and to what it does to your soul and what it does to being able to push yourself and to what it feels like for your body to actually be in shape. I had a guy at my warehouse yesterday, and, God love him. I know him. He's a big man, and not in a good way big. And, we walked across the warehouse, it's 350 yards from one end to the other. Yeah. And he had to go get his worker to go down and get the truck to come down to the other end to pick him up. He wouldn't walk back 350 yards. Yeah. And so, when you look at life like that, and then and you're right, it's hard to find people that exercise, that are dedicated to that are not, pretty much happy and or at least getting parts of something that they need. And listen, as humans, we all need something, right? Right. And so the reason most relationships don't work is that when we wake up every day, we all have needs and desires, no matter what they are, no matter if they're good, bad, whatever. People have desires and they have needs and they need to be filled, and they certainly can't be happy. They can't make other people happy. They don't feel good about themselves if they're not getting that. And, that's just the way we are as humans. And so for people like us, I haven't gotten to exercise since my last ride was last Saturday, because I've had 4 back operations, and my back started bothering me really bad last week. And so I had to just kind of do nothing for 6 days. And so I know tomorrow when I get to the farm and I can get on my bike and go ride for a couple, 2 or 3 hours, I know what I'm going to feel like, and I look forward to that. And it kind of wears at you, just kind of eats at you a little bit when you don't get to do that. Yeah. And I think that's unfortunately most people just don't. The general masses just have no idea what that's like.
Well, and you were talking about just the general health of folks around you. So I did my training at University of Virginia, and we could have stayed up in Virginia, but I'm from Mississippi. And Mississippi, I kind of jokingly say, is first or last in every category there is. So we're first in, obesity and all this kind of stuff. And so my wife and I, we chose to come back here, to serve this community. And then also with the coffee, we feel like if we can bring a good quality flavor to black coffee itself, then that should help as far as enticing folks to hopefully, they can put cream or sugar in it, but maybe not. Maybe they don't have to. And then magically you have super high antioxidants, anti-inflammatories as far as recovery goes. You got the caffeine, you got 0 calories. So it's like, awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And listen, the product's great, and I love it. I actually took some of the grounds the other day and used it on one of my steaks when I was kind of doing a rub on some meat, and it was really good.
Yeah, we've done we'll have to do like a joint, like a Darn Hungry thing or something for the rub. But we've done that before. We've done and I need to put it on the website. We've done a rub that we've put on a steak, and man, you talk about a good steak. It's pretty awesome.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
Well, listen, John, anything else that you can think of that we didn't hit on that you just want?
Man, listen, I just appreciate you having me on, and anytime I have an opportunity to kind of put things out there in the world, no matter if it's for one person or for 100 million, I just challenge people to not take the easy way in life. It's so easy to just exist. It's just so easy to do the same thing. It's so easy to not go outside, not put your shoes on, not go for a run. It's so easy not to get on your bike. It's so easy to make an excuse after excuse after excuse. But, we have one, I think, responsibility in life, and that we're all given certain sets of abilities and talents and brains and strength and all these things. And I think that we just owe it to the goodness of the world to totally expose what those are and maximize your abilities, and to push yourself for greatness in everything that you do, no matter how small of what it is, and what small of a task or a dream or whatever it is. And I think that it takes a lot of courage to do that. It's just super easy for people to be robots and to be complacent with life. Yeah. And I just, I'm not like that. And I try to surround myself with people. And I think that my group, I know thousands and thousands of people. I mean, I can't even explain how many people I, probably would, say I know, but I have this many people that I surround myself with that are like-minded and that are pushing like I am. And that's very, very important. It's not a quantity thing in life. It's about the quality, and that people are all similarly motivated and have similar kind of goals and aspirations. So I just challenge people to, just pick one little thing and just go do it and see how it makes you feel, and push yourself. And then really to push children is really the key. That's where it starts.
Yeah. So Umble Nation, y'all listen, John Cassimus, he just gave you basically everything in about a 30-minute little nutshell there as far as like success. in life and doing it right. So you can follow him at John Cassimus. You can see his name down here, Cassimus, on most social medias, if not all. And from there, you'll be able to see all the crazy things he's involved in, and you can follow all that stuff too. So, John, love it, brother. Enjoy
Thank you.
having
Appreciate it. Really appreciate you having me. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. You take care.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
We really enjoyed having John Cassimus on Happy Healthy Coffee Native today. And I mean, he just brought it, like had all these kind of little ninja tips. And, you know, if you secretly want to show somebody else the video, they can just fast forward to that last like 30 seconds a minute, and he just summed up everything. But it's all about really using the gifts that you're given and figuring out where the limit is. And there is a limit, and a lot of times you haven't reached it yet. And it doesn't matter if it's running a multi-billion-dollar company or if it's folding socks. At Umble Coffee and John Cassimus and what he does, what we have in common and what we want you to have in common is bringing the best with everything you do. So till next time, make sure you subscribe, like, do all that fancy stuff, tell your friends, tell your mama. We'll see you next time, Umble Nation.